Hey kids, how goes it? This is Uncle Spike, and I need a better fucking intro because that shit sucks. But anyway, I want to talk to you about something very interesting that I think it's overlooked a lot in this comic book paradigm and in this discussion about where sales are going and what comic book companies are doing and what's their actual preference. And what's the money maker and what's the end game, all that shtick. And the thing you have to understand is for these are transnational companies with presence in some form or another internationally. And we're talking about, mostly the big comic book companies, your Marvel, your DC, your Image, your Dark Horse, your Boom, your IDW. Some indies might make it to, these places, but it's different for them. For being indie, I'm talking about for example, Terry Moore's Abstract Studios. Anyway, the thing is, you have the diamond sales, right? And that's a good representative of direct sales. What you have to consider with diamond is first and foremost, it doesn't represent exclusively the American market, because those sales are also, those direct sales are actually international. There's at least 10 stores in my city that carry Diamond Comics, Wednesday Comics, even. That exact same you get from Wednesday Comics in America. The exact same Wednesday Comics you get in here. So these sales do not represent, like a lot of people say, that straight weight mail, whatever. They represent an international market. And in fact, you can go to their page and browse what kinds of store carry Diamond Comics. And there's even a little bar where you can search per city, not per country, but per city. I think it's a drag, but if you go there, you look, for example, Mexico City, you'll get some, and even then, there are some major markets in these stores that will buy a lot and also sell to smaller stores. That's how comics tend to get around. So there's that. There's also the unit thing, and this is one trick Marvel does a lot that must be considered when approaching these discussions about the fucking what is making money and what isn't, and there's this promotional stuff. It really is promotional stuff, but they slump it there like it was a direct sale. I'm talking about when things are included, your loot crates and all that kind of stuff that include, this first issue of Secret Empire or Star Wars, whatever, and the numbers just go boom off the charts. But it's not organically, because people buying these crates don't buy them for the comic book. I assure you, they never do. It's when they put books and stuff in the loot crates. I guess that's the most overlooked item in the whole crate. People want their shirts, their little toys, what have yous, and that is not an organical sale. It's not speaking about a customer when you see that reflected in the diamond distribution page. It's and the thing is, it's also in this closed. What number of these comics are actually going into these crates? It could be 10,000, it could be 50,000. We don't know. So you have to take this with a grain of salt. Also, and this is when this guy, the Marvel Sales Vice President, I don't remember his name, was talking about diversity not selling comics. There's two things. The first one is diversity. No one cares about diversity in the sense that we've had it already for 50 years or so, and nobody cared. The thing is, you want equality of outcome in comics. I'm sorry, I have to close this. Yeah, you want equality of outcome in comics, and you want to see everything represented as if it was a symmetrical kind of thing. When, truth to be told, you can survey. In fact, I think a survey is needed. Most people working and buying comics are mostly white. They are whitish because, as I said, it's international. And let me put this out: Puerto Ricans are majority white, Mexicans are third white, Brazilians are majority white, Argentinians are majority white. So the thing is, some people wouldn't want to count them as white, even though they are obviously white. The thing is, well, when you're accounting for diversity and stuff, and these books are not selling to the people in other countries in the larger scale, which is the one factor they left out and nobody talks about ever. And there's a big reason for it. It's a very bad reason for it. The thing is, most of these companies' money, especially at Marvel and DC, especially those, make their money through licensing. And licensing goes in a lot of places. Like, you can go with toys and everything. That tends to be a mostly made in China market. But there's also the comic book licenses where some other editorials in some other places, like Panini Comics, the largest one in the world. They actually print more fucking comics than I think any of these companies I'm mentioning, and it's printing their own American comics in other languages, and they print even more than them. So you have to take this into consideration. That's the largest chunk of money. Also, it's all revenue, because since these are reprints, you don't have to invest in, paying the talent, the creators, the editors, whatever. You basically have a contract and they pay you per story, and it's basically, other than taxes, I'm guessing, free money. But here's the thing: it's free money, and it makes a lot of revenue in the comic book sense. So if you make the argument that, well, this is something I've experienced, because I have experience as a comic writer for Marvel Comics, as a script interpreter for Marvel and for Heavy Metal. I've interpreted scripts for Marvel, for Lucasfilm, for Heavy Metal, for Space Gold with Evil Dead, and I also work here with Panini Comics, reprinting, some image stuff and some Star Wars stuff, and at Camellia, which is a local Mexican company, I do Tim Seeley's book, Hack Slash and Revival. They're my babies too, in that sense. Holy fuck, what's up with my hair? I shouldn't have cut it, it's funny. Going fucking bald, if you can look at it. But anyway, yeah. We have these licenses. And these licenses pay to print, I want to, I make my editorial plan and I want to print this and these books. And you pay for the license and you pay per book you want to print. The thing is, right now, license holders in America, for example, would rather reprint stuff they already reprinted before. For example, let's say the Dark Phoenix saga, the Age of Apocalypse. Yeah, I'm an X-Men guy, sorry. They will actually have a second run at it, and they think it would be more profitable to their market than a first printing of, single stories like America, like your Marvel Nows. License holders don't like your Marvel Nows because they don't make money internationally. When they sell you this bullshit that this is to be inclusive, and we have to let other people play with it. Mexicans have been reprinting Marvel comics since the 60s. All my friends know who the fuck Victor is. We've known it since the New Mutants days. We don't care Victor's from Guadalajara. It's like, cool, yeah. Like, my favorite guy from the New Mutants was always, Magic and Cannibal. I always loved Cannibal, and Magic's just fucking awesome. You have to take into consideration these minorities they're speaking about. They don't like your shtick, your SJW shtick. That's a lie you built on yourself in your head, because we're not buying it. And it's not only the people in the direct market, the licensed market doesn't like it. And the worrying part is, that's where your money is made. You see the problem there? They would rather actually reprint stuff than buying the stuff you're investing in now. And the thing is, you're investing and losing at your investment because you're not seeing that free money back. It costs you a lot to put it out, and it's not selling in direct sales. And add salt to the injury, you're not able to sell it as a license where it's free money. The other thing that it's free money is because they don't pay, they don't give you any royalties, and that's fucked up beyond repair, because that's where they make the most money. So artists actually are getting fucked in the ass, because these guys, the corporate is cutting, the main man, not the middleman, the main man. They're getting all the money through, all the artists have probably, they surely have stuff being printed in Spanish, being printed in Italian, in French, in German. I know the Panini, I don't know Portuguese, they do Portuguese too. So look at that. Tell me that isn't fucked up. And that's not mostly from, the editorial part, that's mostly corporate. But you see how you're not looking at the grand scheme of things, and Marvel knows it is losing money. But, you have all these people in these fake news sites like Newsarama or Comic Book Resources, or, your alt-left ones like the Mary Sue, the ones that exclusively exist for ideology, which basically it's all of them, but some of them are more extremist than others. Making their mental gymnastic. Oh, he didn't mean it that way. And if you look at these sales represent just a little portion. And even at that, they only represent to retail. They don't represent to the actual customer. You have to survey every single diamond store and make a statistic, a real one, a marketing one, a useful one, not a Facebook one like the one they try to pass, like, half of comic book readers are women. No, that's a statistic they took out from Facebook. I traced that back from one video Maddox did about the Spider-Woman cover. And I traced the source, and the source traced back to a Facebook page which represents nothing. It doesn't represent sales. It doesn't represent anything other than somebody clicking the like button. Anyway, to make a real survey, if you want to play big boy industry, you'll need to survey these stores and see, okay, let's take a sample of your pull list, or you can go to stores and tell them, ask your subscribers if they lend us their information for our survey, they will get this free comic, or this Comixology code, whatever, so you can survey the real clientele and see the real patterns of behavior and who your real customer is. They did that just. It was easier, of course, but they also did that with the Xbox console, and it turned out most people playing it is around my age or older, and married. Shit, I'm not married. That kind of married guy, 30s. That's the AAA Xbox console gamer. I personally am more of a computer not a master race. That thing's fucking stupid, but yeah, I play PC mostly. But anyway, that's the thing. You have to. There's a lot of things companies don't tell you, and they hide it very well because they don't want, for example, their artists to know they're getting screwed about because most of the money made through their comics they don't pay royalties, and they license it out to all places in the world, you know, and that's a big moneymaker for these companies. It's not the direct sales; it never has been. Licensing, it's the bread maker. Well, let's say in the beginning, but even then I don't know because, like for example, one of my best friends used to live next door to me for like 16 years, and his father was a very old man. He was conceived in his second marriage. He was a law doctor from Uruguay, and in South America they had these magazines for children in the 30s called Biliken, and they actually reprinted in even in the 30s they were reprinting Superman. That's how I read a lot of these Golden Age Superman stories. They were reprinted in Biliken. So licensing has been a big deal since syndication days and the Golden Age of comics, syndication of the comic strip. These are economical things you have to take into consideration when you're trying to figure out what's going on with comic book sales today. It's important to not just trust any news site, because most of the news sites are hiring people who are ideologues, people who are really outsiders of the industry trying to figure it out as they go. They are not even invested in digging through stuff other than the thing fed to them by companies, and that's not how it works. That shouldn't be how it works. There should be some accountability. Anyway, guys, take care. I hope this was a little bit insightful. Tell me what you figure out about this information, and if it's helpful in asking the harder questions about these sales.